If you haven't already seen it, a few months ago I created a Super Mario 64 ROM hack that adds the Pizza Tower combo system and the P rank to the game. If you haven't watched the video I made on it yet, I recommend watching that first, as in that video I attempt to P rank the main stages of the game. Notice here how I said main stages. Well, in Super Mario 64, there are two types of stars, course stars and secret stars. Course stars are what I focused on in the first iteration of the hack, and what I designed the hack around. In my initial video, I didn't touch upon secret stars, since those were typically only one per level, and did not fit in with the 6-star P rank system I devised. A lot of comments on that video did talk about some things my system was missing compared to Pizza Tower, most notably the second lap. While I still feel as though the second lap would not have worked due to the non-linear nature of the main courses, I had been thinking about some other things I missed in the initial video, and thought to myself, hold on, what about the Secret and Bowser stages? Couldn't those have a more traditional P rank with lap 2 included, since they're all linear single mission stages? Well, to answer that question, yeah, they can, and it works pretty well. The premise of lap 2 in these stages is simple. Complete the star mission as normal, but instead of spawning a star, the first time through the stage will instead spawn a lap 2 portal. Jumping through that portal will reset the entire stage, and you need to do the mission again, keeping your combo going all the while through. Sounds easy enough, right? That's what I thought too. The second lap, as is, doesn't have anything extra going for it, so I thought I'd add in a little surprise. Almost immediately at the start of the second lap, Mario will begin to be chased by Pizzaface, who will instantly kill him upon contact. If you're familiar with Mario hacks, you should know about the Green Demon, a 1-up mushroom that chases Mario down and kills him. Pizzaface works the exact same way, with two notable changes. Firstly, he goes right through floors and walls. One of the classic ways to cheese the Green Demon is to get it trapped under some geometry, and then go about the mission like normal. It would be too easy that way, so I made Pizzaface ignore collision. To compensate for this, the second change is his speed. He moves a bit slower than a 1-up mushroom, but still fast enough to give Mario heart palpitations. If you manage to make it through the second lap while avoiding Pizzaface, you'll be rewarded with that juicy, desirable P rank. With that established, there are 9 minor courses to tackle. So let's ask the question, can you P rank Super Mario 64's minor courses? First up is Peach's Secret Slide. This course is honestly a piece of cake in the context of the challenge, but does offer a good introduction to the hack mechanics. You'll see the lap 2 portal waiting for you at the bottom, and once you step inside, now, Pizzaface offers 0 challenge in this stage, but still, does get you nice in the hurried mood. After making it down the slide a second time, with way more than enough coins to keep your combo going, you've copped P rank number 1. Another prospectively easy course, Tower of the Wing Cap, awaits us next. And yeah, unless you miss red coins while flying, like I do. Pizzaface and the combo meter offer no additional challenges or roadblocks to be seen. But don't worry, these first 2 secret stages were mindless speed tutorials. The next stages won't be so easy. I decided to jump right to a Bowser course, even though I still had the secret aquarium to tackle in this hub. But I'm glad I did, because this is where the challenge truly starts to shine. After the easy enough first lap, the second lap presents some challenges. Almost immediately, right at the start, I have to backtrack to snag a red coin, which is the absolute killer of Green Demon-esque challenges. To not be obliterated by Pizzaface, I had to juke him out. grabbing a metal cap to keep my combo filled, and snagged the first 2 red coins on the somewhat tight timer. Then, for most of the stage, it would be a matter of speedrunning, with a decent amount of retries on my part from missed jumps or slow attempts. Where the real challenge remains in the final 2 red coins, which requires some tight movement to get if you weren't careful with Pizzaface. After a lot of close attempts, I managed to overcome the trial and claim the P rank. And then, I went right back to another Borefest. Secret Aquarium is already a snoozer on its own, and not much changed in the challenge run. The hardest part of this stage was not getting tired of pressing the A button, since you need optimized swimming to stay away from the big pizza man. The combo meter is a non-issue, so the first lap is boring and uneventful, and the second lap only gets scary after messing up a swimming input or 2. So yeah, another cakewalk. At this point, I was starting to wonder if the challenge was really much of a challenge. The P ranks for the main courses were all very interesting in their own right, as each stage had many different star missions and obstacles that provided a challenge to keeping the combo meter filled. Even with the second lap, the bonus stages just weren't as tactical, and keeping the combo meter filled was never an issue. Pizzaface was an obstacle in some areas, but the way of dealing with him was always the same, just putting space between you and him. Regardless, I continued on since there were just over half of them remaining. Vanish cap under the moat was next, and I'll admit, it was more interesting. The first lap as usual passed without incident, and moving on to lap 2, Pizzaface proved to be slightly more tough to deal with. The problem was that the stage had a huge downward section at the beginning, and it turned around 180 degrees at the bottom. So for the first half of the stage, Pizzaface will always be making progress towards you in the end. The second half of jumping up the tilting platforms and rotating Ferris wheel blocks required pretty tight movement. One slip up and you were as good as dead. Still, it was a relatively short section, and after a few tries, I got the run with no problem. Cavern of the Metal Cap was where things finally got spicy. With such a cramped stage, lap 1 was no problem, but lap 2 would be really tough. The first 2 reds in the cage were not an issue, but the last 6 were all in one clump at a dead end. This gave absolutely no room to evade Big P, and grabbing them in the star before he caught you just was not possible. Instead, I had to devise an actual strategy, which is something I hadn't done up until now. Grab the first 4 reds, leaving the underwater ones for later, and jump back to the beginning of the stage. Then, you need to lure him over and quickly jump back, getting another metal cap too. You have to be absolutely perfect getting the underwater ones, as by the time you make it down there, he's right on your tail. With barely enough wiggle room, grab the star and make it out of there. Now comes a stage I was dreading for a decent while now. Bowser in the Fire Sea. An infamous stage for challenge runs, this stage makes everyone's life more miserable. Notoriously the only roadblock for a Super Mario 64's no A-press run, this stage might be difficult. Let's dive in. And it's not possible. Sorry to drop a disappointing bombshell, but one specific red coin makes this stage impossible to clear while being pursued by Pizzaface. The red coin you need to activate the elevator for to grab is deceptively annoying. It flat out needs Mario to wait a few seconds to move again, and this is right after a segment where you turn around. 2 things that when combined make for an impossible escape from Pizzaface. I really wish I could say more, but yeah, I don't think this is possible. I know that I'm the hack creator and I could make it possible, but in the context of a challenge run, I wouldn't test out everything before attempting it. I made the speed and physics based on gut feeling and made the speed maximum just slower than the maximum swim speed, because I knew it was an instant failure if I didn't. I could change the speed to be slow enough to make this possible, But that would be disingenuous to the challenge itself, and make the other stages an uninteresting cakewalk. So unfortunately, we have to take this L and move on. On a lighter note, the usually awful Wing Mario Over the Rainbow stage was actually decently fun to plan a route for. Being one of the only non-linear secret stages, it made shooting around with the cannons more fun, and the combo meter was actually a resource that had to be managed due to the large gaps in flight distance. This made the first lap a little more challenging, as some of the flight times required almost exceeded this combo limit. Lap 2 ended up being more fun than stressful throughout the numerous attempts. Flying around Pizzaface and barely escaping through an exhilarating cannon shot was a bunch of fun, which is weird because I usually hate this stage. Anyways, a decently challenging run later, and we got a P rank, a nice victory in contrast to the previous stage's failure. One more course left, the penultimate obstacle course of the game, Bowser in the Sky. We suffered loss at the hands of previous Bowser stage, but this stage has a lot more wiggle room, and I'm not about to let Bowser cop another win from us. So let's get started. Pushing the box for this first red coin would take too long, so I instead opted for a ground pound to just barely reach it, and also barely escape Pizzaface, who was hot on my trail. The next few red coins were a series of close calls, but growing distance with him. And with good enough movement, all but the last were obtainable. The problem with the last red coin is, before it is not only a windy section, but also double Ferris wheels, making for a lot of stalled time that Pizzaface could just eat up. Thankfully, since the stage is open enough, with just enough room to wiggle, you can grab the last red, have Pizzaface brush Mario's nose, and grab the P rank. While this iteration of the challenge wasn't nearly as interesting or successful as the previous P rank video, it was interesting to take a look at a more faithful attempt at implementing P ranks. Overall, I think I had it right by just sticking to the main courses the first time around. Pizza Tower is a very different game from Mario 64, and leaning more into Mario's design with slight inspiration rather than taking a lot of elements from Pizza Tower like the lap 2s was the right call in my opinion. Still though, it was a neat challenge to do, and I'm glad I did it. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out my other ROM hack projects, including a major hack I'm working on with lots of cool custom stuff. Until then,